Hello and good morning everyone. Today we'll be discussing a test, UPSC test on science and technology. Before I go into the discussions of this test, let me give you a brief overview about how this test was, how I felt this test was. So, see, when you look at the questions from UPSC Prelims, most of the questions in science and technology are current oriented. Okay, so it is okay if you have not been in a position to solve some of the questions that were given in this test. Okay, because most of the questions were, based on current affairs which had happened 2 to 3 years ago. So what is more important for you is to focus on all the current affairs that are happening in science and technology in the recent times, say for a year before the exam. Okay, the rest of the questions, some questions are based on concepts. Here you need to understand the concepts. Okay, if you're clear or thorough with the concepts, you'll be in a position to answer these questions. Also, some questions could be answered also if you have read the NCERTs. Okay, so this was a mix of basic conceptual technology plus current oriented technology, right? I don't think so personally this is going to be a very tough area for you to cover for the UPSC prelims exam, because if you read any compilation of all the current affairs that have happened over the year or the last year, that would suffice. My only advice would be you focus on all the emerging technologies. For example, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, these Internet of Things. These are the technologies which are, UPSC is always interested in asking questions about them. We have had questions about augmented reality and virtual reality, right? Supercomputers, quantum computing. So these are all the topics which are, I think, necessary for you to know before you appear for the UPSC prelims exam. Okay, so we'll try to go through this paper. Some of the questions are too tough for you to understand. Okay, but that's how the exam is. Some questions will be within the reach, some will be beyond your reach. Okay, but we'll try to do justice to all the questions here. Now, the first question is about sound waves and the frequencies. If you have read any basic book for science and technology, you'll be in a position to answer this question here. Okay, now what is the question here? Which one of the following statements are correct? Now you have two statements given above. The first statement is infrasound sound produced by natural sources such as volcanoes cannot be heard by humans. Now you need to know the frequencies for ultrasound and infrasonic sound. Okay, and what is the audible range for humans? Okay, now if you look at the audible range for humans, it is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. All the sound frequencies below 20 hertz are infrasonic sounds which cannot be heard by the human beings. So the first statement that infrasound produced by natural sources such as volcanoes cannot be heard by humans is true. Why? Because this sound has frequencies less than 20 hertz, which is not audible to human beings. Then the second statement is the audible range of sound for human beings extends from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Now this is the explanation about why we cannot hear the sound produced by natural sources. So both the statements here are correct. So your answer here has to be A. Both statements 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1. Okay. Now this is a very basic question. If you've read, like I said, NCERTs, you would be in a position to answer this question. Now, the second question is consider the following statements, and we are supposed to find out the correct statements out of these. The first statement is Atomic Energy Regulatory Board is responsible for design, construction, commissioning and operation of nuclear power reactors in India. Now, again, if you're even reading the newspapers, you would be in a position to answer this. Now forget the design and construction part. But commissioning and operation of nuclear power plants is the function of Nuclear Power Corporation of India. This again and again has come up in newspapers. Okay, so Nuclear Power Corporation of India is actually responsible for commissioning and operation of nuclear power plants. So atomic energy is not. So first statement is wrong here. Atomic Energy Regulatory Board is actually concerned with the safety standards of nuclear reactors in India. Okay, so the first statement here would be incorrect. Atomic Energy Regulatory Board was established way back in 1983 and which is headquartered in Mumbai. Okay, so just know these additional things about this. The second statement, Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited is a PSC implementing the Fast Breeder Reactor program. Now, like I said, NPCIL is responsible for commissioning and operation of nuclear power plants. But the Fast Breeder Reactor program in India is implemented by Bhavini. Right? This is a government PSC, public sector enterprise, which implements the Fast Breeder Reactor program in India. So the second statement here also is incorrect. Your answer here has to be D, neither one nor two. Okay. This program Fast Breeder Reactor is in a very initial stages in India. Okay, we have established some prototypes of Fast Breeder Reactor. This is the second stage of nuclear program in India. So this is undertaken by a PSC known as Bhavini. Okay. Now, the third question is, the government of India has approved the principle of net neutrality in India. Consider the following statements. Now, net neutrality was in news, many years ago because of Airtel Zero. If you have heard this, Airtel Zero, right? It was this program why net neutrality came into news in India. Now, consider the following statements regarding this. The first statement reads, it is the principle of treating all the data on internet equally by government and internet service providers. This is exactly the meaning of net neutrality. There should be neutrality in the domain of internet, right? There should be no discrimination based on who is using the data or who is providing the data. Okay, it has to be neutral. The first statement is correct here. Now, the second statement reads, Internet of Things has been kept out of the purview of this framework. This is absolutely incorrect. Okay, when we say net, it includes everything within the net. So Internet of Things is not kept outside the purview. This statement is wrong. So which of the above statements are correct? Only one should be your answer. A will be your answer here. Okay. Next question. Consider the following statements. The first statement is, carbon dioxide is an effective fire extinguisher for fires involving flammable liquids like petrol or oil. Now, these kinds of fires are known as Class B fires. Now, what UPSC can do is they'll give you that carbon dioxide is or CO2 is effective in Class B fires. Now, most of the people will not know what Class B fires are. Okay, so this statement here is correct. Carbon dioxide is heavier than oxygen. Second statement also is correct, and that is why it cuts off the supply of oxygen and fire is automatically restricted. So here both the statements are correct and your answer here will be A. That statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1. Okay, there are also Class C fires. Class C fires, they are about electrical appliances. Electrical short circuit and all these fires are known as Class C fires. Okay, why these are important? Because not necessarily UPSC will be giving you in the question that the fire involves flammable liquids like petrol and oil. They'll straight away give you Class B fires, Class C fires. Okay, so you should be knowing that as well. Answer for question number 4 is A. Next question. Nuclear reactors can be classified into two types depending upon the energy of neutrons that causes fission in the reactor core. In this context, consider the following statements. Now, some data in the question is also very important. When you analyze the previous year questions, you should be focusing on the questions as well. Okay, because this part also is a very good information that energy of neutrons that causes fission in the nuclear reactor's core. Okay, fission reaction happens because neutrons are bombarded on fissile material. Okay, the first statement reads that thermal reactors contain neutrons moderators while a fast reactor contains no neutron moderator. Now, you'll have to understand the complete nuclear program to understand this statement. Anyway, this statement is correct. In the thermal reactors, when we bombard a fissile material like uranium-238 with a neutron, a slow energy neutron, it breaks into barium and krypton. Now we need to control this reaction. We need to control the number of neutrons that are produced, or we need to slow down the neutrons. And that is the reason why we use moderators in thermal reactors. These are also known as PHWRs in India, pressurized heavy water reactors. So heavy water or deuterium oxide is used as the moderator in thermal reactors. Okay. While fast reactors contain no neutron moderator, this statement is true. Fast breeder reactors have no need to use moderators. The second statement, almost all of the nuclear reactors built to date are fast reactors. This is absolutely wrong. Still in the process of experimenting with fast breeder reactors, and almost all the reactors that have been established are of the thermal reactor type, okay, wherein fission is carried out. So the second statement is wrong. The question is, which of the above statements are incorrect? So your answer here should be statement B. Okay, question number 6. Now this question is based on basic science. If you know the Newton's laws, you'll be in a position to answer this. How many of the above real life scenarios are examples of application of Newton's second law of motion? So you should be knowing here the second law of motion, which is force is equal to the rate of change of momentum. Okay, so let's read the statements. A fielder catches a fast moving ball by pulling his hands backwards. Okay, this is a perfect example of Newton's second law. In high jump event, the athletes are made to fall on a cushioned bed. That also is a correct explanation of second law of Newton's. The third, a gun recoils when the bullet is fired. Now this is actually the explanation or a real life scenario to explain Newton's third law, that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, so third statement is incorrect. Your answer will be B. Two of the statements are correct. Okay, now question number 7. Fruits are stored in cold chamber exhibit longer storage life because, see, no ifs and buts here. The straight answer here is the speed of respiration is controlled here. Okay, so rate of respiration is decreased when you put these vegetables and fruits in the fridge, and so they last longer. Don't even go with all these examples. Okay, even if exposure to sunlight is prevented, they still go bad. Okay, so this cannot be the explanation. Concentration of carbon dioxide in the environment is increased, not at all, and there is increase in humidity, not at all. Okay, so rate of respiration is decreased. Actually, the enzyme which results in the ripening of fruits, ethylene, okay, that is slowed down because the rate of respiration is slowed down. So your answer for question number 7 would be C. Next, question number 8. With reference to quantum dots. Now, these are the typical questions which are asked in UPSC Prelims exam. Okay, consider the following statements. The first statement is, there are semiconductor nanoparticles that glow a particular color after being illuminated by light. Absolutely true. These are also known as artificial atoms. Okay, quantum dots. And because of this characteristic feature of them to glow a particular color after being illuminated by light, they are used in different screens. So monitors and LEDs, or you must have come across QLEDs. So these are quantum dot LEDs, LED screens of your television sets. Okay, so the first statement here is correct. The second is, quantum dots are both photoluminescent and electroactive. This is also true. Okay, now like I said, these are typical UPSC questions because these are related to real life technologies that you use in your day-to-day life. So these questions are more probable. Answer here is C. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Then question number 9. Dr. Homi in 1950s gave a 3-stage roadmap for development of nuclear energy in India. In this regard, consider the following statements. Like I said, if you know the nuclear program of India, you would be in a position to answer this question. The first statement reads, it is focused on using vast supply of uranium reserves in India. This is absolutely wrong because India has no vast supply of uranium in India. India has supply of thorium. right? Almost 25% of total world's reserves are in India. But when it comes to uranium, only 2% of global reserves of uranium are found in India. So that is the reason why Homi Bhabha actually came up with the 3-stage nuclear program in India. Why? Because he finally wanted to use these huge resources of thorium that were found in monazite sands in the western coast, Kerala, for example. Okay, so first statement is incorrect. The first stage would consist of pressurized heavy water reactors to produce plutonium. Now, the second statement is true because the byproduct of the first stage is plutonium, which is again a fissile material which could be used as a fuel in the second stage, which is the fast breeder reactor stage. Okay, then this statement is correct. The second stage would consist of fast breeder reactors. I just said this, so this is also correct. So how many of the statements are incorrect? Only one. So this is incorrect. India has huge reserves of thorium and not of uranium. Okay. See, we have had a lot of questions in UPSC about the 3-stage nuclear program in India. So once go through all these, okay, now we are trying to build these reactors, fast breeder reactors. What are fast breeder reactors? They breed the fuel. They produce the same fuel that they have used, okay, which can be again used in the third stage, where we can mix it with uranium. So the third stage of nuclear reactors in India will be based on the fuel cycle of thorium-232 and uranium-233, which will be a byproduct in second stage. Okay, so this is the 3-stage program envisioned by Dr. Homi Bhabha, and he is known as the father of Indian nuclear program, and that is for a reason. Okay, now question number 10. Consider the following statements about India's national IPR policy. Cell for IPR promotion and management is to be set up under the aegis of Ministry of Law and Justice. Now this is so logical. Why would any cell for IPR promotion be set up under Ministry of Law and Justice? It will be set up under Ministry of Commerce. So the first statement here is incorrect. The second is existing commercial courts will adjudicate IP disputes in areas. This is true. Then it provides to expand the ambit of traditional knowledge digital library for inclusion of Ayush. Yes, government today is focusing on Ayush, and it is to be made part of this traditional knowledge digital library of India. So how many statements are correct? Your answer will be 2. Okay. Now, question number 11. India is taking tentative steps towards restarting research in cold fusion. This is a very a new innovation, cold fusion. In light of this, consider the following statement. Now, like I said, nuclear has always been an important topic in UPSC. Like I said, the 3-stage nuclear program in India, what is fusion, what is fissile, fertile materials, fissile materials, everything, all the isotopes, we have had questions on these. So there's a new way of creating energy, fusion, cold fusion. Okay, even today, to this date, the world has not a single country across the globe is successful in producing energy from fusion, which has unlimited potential. Fusion is the same reaction that happens in the sun's corona. Okay, so what is cold fusion? Cold fusion or low energy nuclear reaction is a nuclear reaction that occurs at near room temperature. Absolutely yes, that is the reason why it is known as cold fusion. Normally, for a fusion reaction to happen, we will have to match the temperature that is there on the sun. But cold fusion, it can happen at room temperature. This was first time done in 1989. Okay, so the first statement here is correct. The first statement here is correct. Then the second statement is it seeks to produce nuclear energy without any harmful radiations. This is also true. The disadvantages of this idea is that it requires complex equipment for energy generation. This is wrong. Okay, now this was done by Stanley Pons in 1989, and it was done in a laboratory. So it requires a very basic setup, not any complex equipment. So this statement is incorrect here. Okay, the fusion reaction that we try to create actually needs a very complex setup, not the cold fusion. So how many statements are correct? Only 2. So your answer here will be B. Question number 12. How many following statements are correct regarding 5G network? With 5G, the peak data speeds are expected to be in the range of 6 to 7 megabits per second. No, the maximum speed will be between 1 to 10 Gbps. Okay. So first statement is incorrect. It is expected to form the backbone of Internet of Things. Absolutely yes. What is Internet of Things? Connecting things to Internet. Okay. So this has become possible because of IPv6, that is Internet Protocol version 6. Also because of 5G, this is going to be more easy to do. The committee was set up under the chairmanship of AG Polraj to suggest road for 5G adoption. Yes, it was set up in 2017. Now, India has already started 5G services on 1st of October in 2022. Remember the date. And globally, it was South Korea which started 5G services in 2018. South Korea was the first country globally to inaugurate 5G services. Okay. So, how many statements are correct here? So, 2 statements in this question are correct. Your answer here will be B. Question number 30. With reference to chatbots, consider the following statements. These are computer programs designed to stimulate conversation with humans over the internet. This is true, and this is what you use every day now. You see so many services. For example, Ask Disha. This was a chatbot service by IRCTC. It could answer all your queries regarding your reservations. Then so many banks today, for EVA, for HDFC, IPAL, ICICI, SIA, SBI. These are all chatbots about for these banks, where they can have a conversation with customers. Second, rule-based chatbots provide predefined responses from a database based on keywords used for the research. Now, what are rule-based chatbots? Those chatbots which can function only within the database which has been provided to them. Okay, so this statement is also true. The third statement, Siri of Apple and Alexa from Amazon are the type of data-driven and predictive chatbots. This is also true because they can operate only within the sphere of data that they have been given. Anything outside that, and they will not be able to work or function. Okay, so how many statements are correct here? All the 3 statements in this question are correct. Okay, now this is an emerging technology. Please be very thorough with this. Artificial intelligence is going to be a question for you in the prelims exam. Next, question number 14. Consider the following statements regarding frequency spectrum. Now, the first is it is part of the electromagnetic spectrum covering the range from 30 Hz to 300 gigahertz. Now, any spectrum is actually part of electromagnetic spectrum that comes out of the sun. Okay, so we are specifically speaking about radio frequency spectrum. We know that radio waves are a part of this electromagnetic spectrum. So the first statement here is correct. Now, even if you do not know these frequencies, I would still suggest go with this probability of making this as correct option. Generally, UPSC will not try to change such facts. Okay. Then television and mobile phone signals require higher frequency bands than radio signals. This is also true. And spectrum has been internationally accepted as a renewable natural resource. Why renewable? Because it does not get exhausted after use. So spectrum has been recognized as a renewable source. So this statement is also correct. All the 3 statements in this question will be correct. Now, question number 15. With reference to Cyber Swachhata Kendra, consider the following statements. Now, these were established in 2017, okay, to clear the botnets from the system. Any person could use this Cyber Swachhata Kendras to clean their systems. The first is it is also not known as a botnet cleaning and malware analysis center. This is true. India started this to have a clear cyberspace, clean of botnets. So first statement is correct. It is not a part of Digital India. So it says not a part of Digital India, which is wrong. It is actually a part of Digital India. Okay. The third statement is this center is being operated by CERT-in. This statement is also true. So how many statements are incorrect? Only one statement in this question. So your answer has to be A. Okay. Question number 16, robotic technology. Now see, these are the type of questions where you need to have a very thorough knowledge about or technical knowledge about robotics. Now this, most of the students will not be in a position actually to know all these. Okay, so learn out of the questions. All these are important aspects of robotics technology. Actuators, optical encoders or transducers. So transducers is a device that converts energy from one form to another form, which is used in robotics. This is all the statements here given are true actually. So there is no incorrect statement. Your answer here has to be D. Now, even if you're not in a position to solve this question, learn out of this question. Okay, there's one more question on robotics, different parts of robots. So all these are very important because robotics has been an important topic for UPSC Prelims as well as mains also. Okay, so all the statements are correct. None of these statement is incorrect. So you just study what are actuators, what are optical encoders. They are nothing but sensors. How you feed information or how robots react to sensors. So optical encoders are detection sensors. Okay, so all the statements are correct here. Question number 17. Consider the following statements. Formulating. Okay, the question is how many of the above functions are performed by TRAI, that is Telephone Regulatory Authority of India. The first statement is formulating the policy of Department of Telecommunication for approval by the government. See, it is not a formulating body. So the first statement here is incorrect. Then second is adjudicating disputes between two or more service providers. So this is also not the function because we have a separate tribunal to adjudicate disputes between two service providers. Third is fixing tariffs and rates for telecom services. This is what TRAI does. Okay. So how many of the statements are functions performed by TRAI? So your answer has to be only one. Only one of this is the function of TRAI. So your answer here will be E. Okay. Okay. So I was referring to this question. Which of the following are parts of the robot? So you have column 1 and 2 and you have to match the following. Okay. Controller, manipulator, end effector and sensors. Okay. Now you will at least know one. What do sensors do is they gather information. Right. What do sensors do is they gather information. You would at least know one point of this. Because sensors send something and they gather information and give it to the system. Okay. Now, what is controller? Controller is actually made of software and hardware designs, right? It coordinates the movements of mechanical systems. Then end effector is also actually a very important term. What is end effector? So it is an end arm of the tooling on the robot. End effector is the end arm. Now, how can robots grip something and pick something up? It is because of the end effectors. Okay, and manipulators are arms of the robot. Okay, so this your answer here will be C in this question. But again, whether you know the answer or not know the answer, what is important here is that you get to know something new from this question. Okay, so these are all parts of the robots you should know. Then question number 19, consider the following statements about IPR in agriculture. IPRs in agriculture are patents, plant breeders' right, geographical indicators, trademarks and trade secrets. Yes, all the statements are correct about IPR in agriculture. Then patenting of agriculture machinery is done in the areas of irrigation only. Like I said in the last test also, if there's only, you have to be cautious. Why? There can be patents in agriculture machinery and other things as well. So the second statement is wrong. PepsiCo has recently sued Gujarat farmers for infringing on its IPR on a potato variety. Now this was a very important case in India because there was a variety of potato which PepsiCo actually brought it into India, which had specifically bred for making potato chips. So this was granted patent rights in India in 2016 for a period of 5 years, but it was withdrawn back in 2021. It is after this that when farmers started cultivating this and PepsiCo went to the courts, but courts denied this patent or evergreening of this patent. So this statement is also correct. How many statements will be correct here? Only 2 statements are correct. Okay. Next, question number 20. In context of nuclear physics, consider the following statements. Now, like I said, fissile and fertile materials. Fissile materials are those that undergo fission reaction after absorbing a high energy neutron. See, when I was explaining the process of nuclear reaction, I said a low energy neutron is required, not a high energy neutron. Okay, so this statement is incorrect only because of this term. Then, fissile materials are a subset of fissionable materials, right? What are fissile or fissionable materials? Which can undergo fission, which can undergo breakdown when they're hit by a slow moving neutron. Okay, and opposite of fissile is fertile. Those materials which do not undergo fission are known as fertile materials. Okay. Now, fertile materials are those that are not fissionable by thermal neutrons. So this is also correct. Which of the following statements are incorrect? Only one statement here is incorrect. Now, next question. National Broadband Mission with their provisions. Now, what are these programs? Initiative and what is the provision? Now, even if you know one of these provisions, I think you'll be in a position to answer. See, what was BharatNet? This was started by India, Government of India in 2011 as National Optical Fiber Network. Okay. The aim of this project was to connect all the Gram Panchayats in India by internet through optical fiber cables. So, A has to be 3 providing 1 Gbps to Gram Panchayats, 250,000 Gram Panchayats in India. Now, if you go to the options, you see A, 3, there is only one option, B. This is your answer. So, GramNet is connecting all key rural development institutions. The NagarNet is about establishing public Wi-Fi in urban areas because it is NagarNet. And Jan Wi-Fi is establishing Wi-Fi hotspots in rural areas. Okay, so all these programs are important here. But when there's a question on match the followings, probably we can use elimination if UPSC does not make options very difficult, right? So question number 22, this is absolutely that you should mug up because the convention and what it is for. The answer here is B. I'll straight away give the answer here because conventions are given here and what they are related to is also given here. So just mug it up. Okay, convention and what it is meant for. Then question number 23. Consider the following statements regarding virtual private network. Again, technological use, day-to-day use of computers. It allows the user to access to internal internet by connecting to a network through tunneling. It helps remotely accessing the information. This is again true. And India has emerged as rank 3 worldwide in terms of mobile VPN app downloads. See, statement here is also true. But this is what current affairs is all about. Now, some statements will be conceptual or static, which won't change, and some will be based on current affairs. So, how many statements are correct here? All the 3 statements are correct about VPN or virtual private network. Okay. Now, next question number 24. IT for masses. This is a very factual question and also not in recent years. So I'll straight away give the answer here. It was started in 10th 5-year plan, IT for masses. Next, with reference to nuclear fission, consider the following statements. What is nuclear fission? First statement says it is an exothermic reaction. What is an exothermic reaction? A reaction which emits heat after it is completed is known as exothermic reaction. So absolutely this is an exothermic reaction. Okay, so that generated heat is used to boil water and make steam out of it. That is how energy is produced. So it is an exothermic reaction. A huge amount of energy as gamma rays is released. Spontaneous fission is a type of radioactive decay. This is also true. Enormous energy released in an atom bomb comes from uncontrolled fission. Very important. This is again application of nuclear fission. Atom bomb is nothing but an uncontrolled fission reaction. The same reaction which we control in nuclear power plants, if it goes uncontrolled, it would be nothing but an atomic bomb. Similarly, hydrogen bomb is nothing but an fusion reaction. So remember this, atomic bomb is fissile reaction, hydrogen bomb is a fusion reaction. Okay. Next, consider the following statements regarding treaty for prohibition of nuclear weapons. Now this has been, there has been a continuity in this question, because there were questions of LTBT, Limited Test Ban Treaty 1963, then we have CTBT 1995, Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. All these treaties had some exclusion or some way out to test nuclear weapons. Finally, we come up with this treaty which says Treaty on Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. Now, this is completely prohibiting nuclear test, and this is the first legally binding treaty. Okay. Now, see, the first statement reads, it prohibits the entire range of activities relating to production, stockpiling, and use of nuclear weapons. This is true. And all the 9 countries possessing nuclear weapons did not sign this treaty is also true. Because even CTBT was not signed by most of the countries, nuclear powered countries, and obviously this treaty was also not signed. So, correct statements are both 1 and 2. So, we have all these 9 countries from India, Pakistan, Israel, North Korea, China, USA. Okay, all these countries have not signed this treaty. Now, question number 27. Now, this is again a current based question, a very factual question, but if you know at least Bravo, okay, this was developed as India's first indigenous industrial robot to help micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, okay, and this was developed by Tata. Now, even if you know this, now all these are from other countries, but you should at least know what Tata has done. And even if you know one, I think from elimination, you get your answer, because for D, there is only one option which gives 1. So this is your answer. Okay. So go through all these humanoid robots. Most of them are humanoid robots. Okay. And this is also an example of generative AI, how they can, do all the things that human beings can do. Okay. So your answer here will be C, but at least know 1. Bravo was developed by Tata for MSME sector. Then question number 28, question on biosensors with reference to recently discovered biosensors technique for detection of chikungunya virus. Consider the following statements. Now, the first is biosensors are devices used to detect the presence of biomolecule or microorganisms. This is true. And molybdenum disulfide is a nanosheets used in this process. This is also true. Both are correct. Now, how do you know this? This is only from current affairs. You cannot read any book to know such questions. Absolutely not. Okay, in fact, if you exclude the basics concepts in science and technology, most of the questions will be from current affairs. So if you're reading newspapers, if you're reading compilations of these, it is okay. Okay. Then next, question number 29. Consider the following statements regarding major policy initiatives taken in IT sector. The first is Ministry of Communication and Information Technology was bifurcated, yes, into Ministry of Communication and Ministry of Electronics and IT in 2014. Now, this statement up to here is correct, but it was not in 2014, it was in 2016. So this statement is incorrect. Okay. And setting up of community information centers in Northeast region, this also is correct. It is a major policy initiative taken in IT sector. So there only one statement here is correct. So your answer, which of the above statement is correct? Sorry, your answer here has to be B, because it is which of the statement is correct, only statement B. What are community information centers? These are all the centers which you recognize as Setu Kendras or Maha E-Seva Kendras in Maharashtra. It aimed to provide government services to the people, governance, right? Bringing government closer to the people or giving electronic services over the internet. Okay. Then question number 30. Consider the following statements regarding beta particles. First, beta particles generally have greater ability to penetrate other materials than alpha particles. Absolutely yes, because the penetration power increases from alpha to gamma. Okay. So first statement is correct here. Second, carbon-14 used in carbon dating of fossils emits beta particles. This is also true. Read the process of carbon dating, because we have had many questions on carbon dating. And 3, Beta particles can be useful in cancer therapy for medical imaging. This is also true. So how many statements are incorrect? None of the above is incorrect. Okay. So instead of studying only beta, you study all alpha, beta and gamma. Study their ionizing power, study their penetration power, okay, and study their applications in day-to-day lives. That is all the questions we'll have on this. Then question number 31. Consider the following statements with reference to traditional knowledge and its IP protection. Now the first statement is protection and use of traditional knowledge in India is covered under the Biological Diversity Act 2002. Correct. This act was passed in India because of the CBD. India is part of CBD in 1992, Convention on Biological Diversity. To implement this convention, India came up with this Act of Biological Diversity Act, and prior approval for National Biodiversity Authority is necessary for applying IPRs based on any information on biological resources obtained from India. Now this CBD has two protocols. One is Cartagena protocol and the second most important is Nagoya protocol, right, in 2010. Now this protocol speaks about having prior information whenever you obtain any IPRs based on biological resources from any country. Okay, so this is true. National Biodiversity Authority was also established because of under this act, a statutory body. So this statement is also correct. So your answer here will be, which of the statements are correct? Both the statements are correct. Okay, your answer here will be C. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding global internet governance. The first statement is Internet Governance Forum is a decision-making body and ratifies international agreements involving administration of worldwide internet. Now see, you can understand the scope of some agencies. Now it is a forum. It is a forum. How can it ratify international agreements involving administration of worldwide internet? Okay, this statement is incorrect. See, this forum was actually suggested way back in 1980s by Canada. Okay, International Telecommunication Union supervises the use of radio frequencies spectrum in order to ensure interference-free international wireless communication. This is true. Okay, this is under UN. This has this authority. The 14th annual meeting of the IGF was held in Germany. Now this was way back in 2019. Okay. Similarly, they can ask you the recent in 2023 we had this conference in Kyoto, in Japan. Okay. So how many statements are correct here? Only two statements are correct. Okay. Then question number 33. This is again a typical textbook question. One atomic mass unit is 1/12 the mass of hydrogen atom. Now this is, like I said, you have to read this to know this. Then isotopes are atoms of same elements, yes, exhibiting same chemical properties but different mass. This is also true. You can also say that they have same number of protons but different number of neutrons. Also there can be a question that they have similar chemical properties but different physical properties, any which way. So you should know all the statements. The third statement is tritium is an isotope of hydrogen, does not occur naturally. Now you should know that all the isotopes of hydrogen occur naturally. So this statement cannot be correct. Okay, protium, deuterium and tritium all occur naturally. So the third statement is incorrect. How many statements are correct? Two statements. Your answer here will be B. Okay. Question number 35. Again, a favorite question, a question which repeats again and again. Consider the following statements regarding HTTP. It is a default method of communication. Yes, it is a protocol, hypertext transfer protocol. And what are protocols? Protocols are rules which ensure communication. Okay. The standard port for HTTP connection is 443. This statement is incorrect because for port connection for HTTP is 80 and 443 is for HTTPS. This is what is different. Hypertext transfer protocol secure. The protocol that you use in internet banking or all secure transactions over the internet, you use the protocol HTTPS, that is the secure version. So which of the above statement is correct? Only one. This first statement here is correct. Your answer has to be A. Next, which of the following statements about satellite phones used is true? They use geostationary satellites only. So this is wrong. They can use satellites which are based in low Earth orbit also. So this statement is incorrect. They are used where there is no cellular network. Yes, they always require an antenna. Yes. Why do they require an antenna? Because it is a line of sight communication. You will always have to be in sight of the satellite. Okay. So only two statements here are correct. Okay. They can use not only geostationary satellite also, but also remote sensing satellites. Okay. Question number 36. Which of the following organization is responsible for generation and dissemination of Indian Standard Time? Okay, this is a very factual. National Physical Laboratory under CSIR. This is the answer. Okay, B should be your answer. Here, CSIR Center for Mathematical Modeling, no. Central Scientific Instruments Organization, no. And National Geophysical Research Institute also, no. Okay, it is National Physical Laboratory under the CSIR. Okay. Then question number 37. Consider the following statements regarding Gita. It is an alliance of private companies in India. No, it is actually an alliance of government and the private sector in India. Okay, so this first statement is wrong. It is not only the private companies, it is also government, because Department of Science and Technology is also involved here. So first statement is incorrect. Second, it is an organization registered under the Companies Act 2013. This is true. And the third statement, it provides loans to industries in prospective technological areas. This is also true. So the correct answer here is two statements given here are correct. Okay. Question number 38. International Commission for Stratigraphy in 2018 has renamed the last phase in geological history of Earth as Meghalaya Age. Why is it so? Because I'll straight away go to the answer that it is related to climate. So the climate change of this time manifests in rocks of Meghalaya. This is the answer. Okay. Question number 39. Favorite for the UPSC in recent years, hydrogen fuel cell is becoming promising source of clean energy. Yes. In this context, consider the following statements. The first statement is complete chemical energy is converted to electrical energy in fuel cells. Though fuel cells are a source of clean energy, there is not 100% conversion of energy. The efficiency is certainly more compared to the traditional fuel like fossil fuel, but it is around 40 to 60%. Okay, whereas in traditional fuels, in fossil fuels, it is only around 30%. Okay, so this statement is incorrect. Pure water and methane are the byproducts. See, only H2O, pure water, is the byproduct. So it is actually a clean source. So this is also wrong. If it is exhausting methane, again it would add to contribute to global warming and climate change. So it cannot be a clean source. Okay, so methane is not the byproduct. Electricity thus produced cannot be stored. This is true. So select the correct answers. How many are correct? Only one. Statement 1 is correct here. Only one statement is correct in this question. Okay, the next question is question number 40. Okay, how many following gravitational force of Earth does not influence? Now, this question is based on Newton's law of gravitation. Okay, if you have heard the law that every body in the universe attracts every other body with a force which is directly proportional to the product of the masses and inversely proportional to the square of their distance. Okay. Now, what is important here is that a body should have mass to be acted upon by gravity. Okay. Now, if you look at these options, you will find that almost all the options have mass, and so they'll be acted upon by gravity, except neutrinos, which have no mass. So there is no question of gravity acting upon neutrinos. Okay. So here what is important is Newton's law of gravity. So again, this is from your NCRTs. If you know NCRTs, you can answer this question. Answer here will be only A. Okay. Then Question number 41, a very typical question of UPSC which gets repeated again and again. Why do astronauts feel weightlessness in space orbiting the Earth? Now, first of all, you need to understand what is weight, right? No, weight of an object is a force pulling it down. Now, if you're in touch with the ground, you feel your weight, okay? So, it is a reaction of the force of gravity, right? Now, why does an astronaut feel weightless when he's in orbit? Now, the first option says there is no gravity in space. So, this option you can safely eliminate. There is gravity in space. Okay. Now, space is a vacuum. Not at all. Space is a vacuum. Again, same. No. So, your answer actually should be none of the above. Okay. Actually, he has weight, but he feels weightlessness because nothing is opposing the force, or he's not in touch with any other object. Okay, so the astronauts feel weightless in orbit. Okay, now the next question: though Mars is the closest planet to Earth, natural evolution of life on this red planet is not possible. Which among the following is or are the reasons for this? Okay, I will first go through all the options. See, at least these two, there is absence of water and absence of gravity. These are wrong. Why? See, NASA has put forward many proofs proving that there is water on Mars. Okay, there is also gravity on Mars, but it is weak compared to the Earth. Okay, now why there is no life? The reason here is absence of magnetic field. Because of the absence of magnetic field, the atmosphere on Mars was acted upon by the solar winds, and there is no atmosphere there, so life is not possible on Mars. Your answer here should be only one. Okay, then question number 43. During early years of independent India, radio communication was popularly used by government to communicate with citizens. What could be the most reasonable explanation for this? Okay, now see, basic science here again, most of the options are, reading them you can eliminate these options. Now, it was supported by Soviet Union, there's no question of support. It was subsidized by the government, also cannot be an option. The effect of climate change and wind pattern was conducive at that time, also is no. The answer is ionosphere, because ionosphere reflects a certain wavelength from the electromagnetic spectrum, and the radio waves of 2 megahertz to 10 megahertz, right, they are reflected by the ionosphere. Now, other waves of communication, for example, radio or other communication forms, they have waves of very high wavelength, and so they are not reflected by the ionosphere, whereas the radio waves or radio wavelength is reflected. So your answer here should be B. Okay. Then question number 44. Consider the following statements about planned human space mission Gaganyaan. Now, because recently the Prime Minister unveiled the names of all the 4 astronauts who will be part of this mission, this question is going to be important for us. Now, the first statement reads, if successful, India will be only the 3rd country to have their own human space flight after US and Russia, because there are already 3 countries with China. So, USA, Russia and China have already achieved this. India would be the 4th country if it is successful. So, the first statement is incorrect. Astronauts will spend 4 to 7 days in space. This is correct. Okay. Now, there's some problem with this because some, original ISRO websites, if you see, they mention 3 days. But there are many sources which mentioned 4 to 7 days of being in space. Okay. So, we'll still consider this as correct. Cryogenic engine, of course, will be used for the launch with this launch vehicle LVM-3. Okay, then the space capsule will orbit parallel to the equatorial plane of the Earth. This is also true. So the question is correct answer. So 3 statements here are correct. Your answer will be B. Okay. Now this mission is going to be very important. By the end of 2024, we'll be trying to launch the first test mission, wherein it will not be a manned mission. Okay, and later after 2 successful test missions, then it will be a manned mission. Okay. Now, question number 45. A popular political movement called Yellow Vest was in news. Where has it originated? Now the country here is France. It was people protesting against the hike in fuel taxes. Okay, this movement was against the government for raising taxes on fuel. So this originated in France. Nothing more to know about this, and not very important as well. Now question number 46. With reference to individuals facing cardiovascular diseases and hypertension, moderate consumption of beer is considered healthy for its rich in good cholesterol. What is good cholesterol? Okay. Now this in any competitive exam we have this question. See, LDL is bad cholesterol and HDL is good cholesterol. So your answer here is C, HDL. But high density lipoprotein is a example of good cholesterol. Now the next question, the concept of hyperloop trains is expected to revolutionize intercity commutation. How many following statements are true about these generation of trains? Now the first statement says they are superconducting rails. Now they are magnetically leviated or maglev trains. So the first statement here is correct. They use superconducting rails. Then second statement says highly pressurized tubes of transport the passenger capsule are used to transfer the passenger capsule. Now this is technically wrong because low pressured tubes are actually used. So this statement here is incorrect, and it is a green transport technology. Yes, you can say it is green because there is no emissions of greenhouse gases that result from fossil fuels. Okay. Also, renewable forms of energies can be used in the process of operating these trains. So you can say that these are green transport technologies. So two of the statements were correct. Your answer here has to be B. Okay. Next question. How many following statements are correct regarding Bharat stage norms, pollution norms? Because of we jumping from BS4 to BS6, this becomes an important question. The first statement reads that BS norms were enforced in India since 1991. Now these standards were on the lines of standards followed in UK, and they were enforced in India in 2000, right? So the first standards were known as India 2000. So this statement is incorrect, not in 1991. BS6 originally proposed to come in force in 2024 has been advanced to 2020. Yes, this was done, and BS6 will be on par with the Euro standards. This also is true. So how many statements are correct? Two statements here are correct. Okay. Question number 49. The longest lunar eclipse of the century in 2018, the event was referred to as blood moon. And why is it so? Okay. I'll straightway go to the answer. This is because the phenomenon of refraction caused by Earth's atmosphere on the moon. Okay. Now these are all questions from the current affairs. If you're reading papers properly, you'll come, you'll be in a position to answer these questions. Next question, in context of biotechnology, gene drive is seen to produce large big breakthroughs. What is gene drive? Now see how options are created to propagate a particular suite of genes through a population, to propagate a particular suite of genes through a family, and to store gene information in cloud accessible for big data. This is incorrect. Now what is correct, more correct? Is it through population or a family? Okay, so this particular technology, gene drive, was in news because we were genetically modifying mosquitoes to get rid of malaria or diseases like malaria. So we can make genetic changes to all the vectors. Vectors are those microorganisms which carry disease, and to make genetic variations in such a way that they won't be able to reproduce. Okay, so it is running through the population. So your answer here should be A. Okay, so genetically modified mosquitoes were even done in India. So this also is an important update. Then question number 51. The toxic Bacillus thuringiensis made liquids are used in urban aerial spraying to get rid of insect epidemics. Why doesn't it harm humans? Now this is a very interesting question because you see India is trying to introduce some edible crops produced with Bacillus thuringiensis technology or BT technology. Unfortunately, They do not go through in India because there's a lot of opposition to food crops or BT enhanced food crops. Okay, so this can be in use because of DMH Dhara, the mustard, genetically modified mustard variety that India is promoting. Okay, now why does it not harm the human beings? It is very essential to understand the basic science behind this. In BT cotton, these Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria can harm the bollworm, the gut of the bollworm, because it is basic in nature, whereas human stomach is acidic in nature, and this Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria or protein does not activate in an acidic medium. So it cannot harm human beings, absolutely not. Okay, so we find so many countries across the globe actually having genetically modified or BT enabled food crops for years together, and nothing is happened to them. So the reason is human stomach is acidic in nature, whereas BT enhanced protein can get activated only in the basic medium. So your answer here is C. Now, question number 52. The process of copying genetic information from one strand of DNA into RNA is termed as what? Now, this is known as transcription, and these are all the steps of protein synthesis. Right? These are all steps of protein synthesis. Okay? So, transcription is the answer here. The next question is, why is it not possible to drown in Dead Sea? Now this is again self-explanatory, because of the salt content there. The water is more dense compared to other seas. So let's look for the answer here. High dissolved content reduces natural buoyancy. Disproportionate concentration of magnesium chloride and sodium chloride. This is true. It is a myth, and the surface is 400 meters below the sea level is not the answer. Your answer here will be B. There is disproportionate concentration of salts. Okay. Then question number 54. Consider the following statements about gas hydrates. Okay. Now the first statement, what are gas hydrates? Actually, this is gas trapped in water molecules. Okay. And they solidify into ice crystals. So the first, they are basically natural gas in solid crystals. This statement is true. It mainly contains methane, and it is alternatively known even as methane hydrates instead of gas hydrates. Okay, so you have ethane as well, CO2 as well in these crystals. Now sugar 1 and 2 are missions associated with their exploration. This is also true. And instability of gas hydrates can fuel global warming. Yes, because it will lead to emission of methane back into atmosphere, which is again a greenhouse gas responsible for global warming. So all the three statements here are correct. I think you'll have to change this answer in an answer keys. All the statements about this question are true. The answer in the answer key is something else other than this. Okay, so your answer here will be C. Now, next question number 55. Chandrayaan-2, the mission has already been conducted in 2019. Now, the first statement reads, it will be launched using PSLVs. No, it was launched using LMV, Launch Vehicle Mark 3. Okay, so this statement is incorrect. It will put first Indian on the moon. There's no question of putting a human being on moon. So that is wrong. It consists of orbiter, rover and lander. Yes. Okay. Pragyan rover and the Vikram lander were part of this mission. So this statement is true. This statement is incorrect. So the answer will be, which of the above statements are correct? Only one statement of these three is correct. So your answer here will be A. Okay. Now, next question. How many following statements are correct about differences between CFL and LED? Now, the first statement reads, LEDs have a longer lifetime than incandescent bulbs. This is true. They're almost 25 times, right? They last 25 times more than incandescent bulbs. Both contain mercury. No. CFLs contain mercury, not the LEDs. So this statement is incorrect. Then the third statement is LEDs use less power per unit light generated. This statement is also true. So select the correct answers. Two statements will be correct. I think even this question you'll have to change the answer in the answer key. There are two correct statements in this, so your answer will be B. Okay. Then question number 57. In astronomy, the term dark side of the moon refers to. Now this is never the exact meaning of the word. When we say dark side of the moon, it is not actually dark. Okay, so why is it known as the dark side of the moon? It is because it is mountainous and rugged side of the moon. Okay, your answer is this. The side facing the earth is incorrect, right? Responsible for high tides, no. And Carter on the moon, where many human missions have failed, no. It is known as dark side of the moon because of the mountainous and rugged side or physiography of that region. Okay. Then question number 58. Which among the following waves are used in night vision goggles? Now the answer, I'll straightway go to the answer. It is infrared waves. Okay. Now why do we use infrared rays? Though humans cannot see infrared waves, they can be detected because of the heat they generate. Okay, and this heat is converted into electrical signals, and that is how night vision goggles use infrared radiations. So your answer here will be C. Now, question number 59. What is the objective of Earth Biogenome Project? Okay. Now, to develop a DNA sequence of all species known to man, this statement is correct. To develop DNA sequence of all species vulnerable to climate change, no, it is not correct. Develop DNA sequence of keystone species, no. Develop DNA sequence of all animal species, it is not. See, these are all narrower options and this is the broadest option. It is about all the species known to man, and this was to be completed in a 10-year period. So your answer to this question is A. Then question number 60. Pearl is hard object produced within the soft tissue of a mollusk. Which one of the following is the main constituent of the pearl? The answer here is calcium carbonate. This is again a question from your NCRTs. Okay, you don't need to read anything more to answer this question. Okay, the next question is question number 61. Now this question is again a textbook question. Okay, you don't have to know much about this. If you're reading NCRTs, you'll be in a position to answer this. Now they've given some cell organelles and you'll have to find out what are the functions of these cell organelles. So the first is mitochondria. We know it. The function is ATP formation. Then there is chloroplast, photosynthesis. Ribosomes means protein synthesis, and lysosomes is intercellular digestion. Okay, so accordingly your answer will be B. Okay, now question number 62. How many of the following statements about antimatter are correct here? Now the first statement is, like matter, they are made up of electrons, neutrons and protons. This statement is correct. Okay, now statement 2. Unlike matter, they are made of positrons and antiprotons. This statement also is correct. So first and the second statement here are correct. The third statement is antimatter particles can be created in ultra high speed collisions. Actually this statement is wrong. When they are formed in pair and when they collide with each other, they annihilate each other and there is a release of large energy. So this statement 3 is incorrect. Antimatter does not interact with matter is also incorrect. It does interact with matter. Okay, so only 2 statements in this question are correct. Your answer will be A. Next, question number 63. Working of safety fuse depends on. Now like I said, your day-to-day science is very important in UPSC Prelims. Okay, so working of a safety fuse, how does it work? There's a metal wire with a very low melting point in these fuse. Okay, so if a very high magnitude of current is passed through the fuse, it will break. So the question is, working of the safety fuse depends on what? The first statement, magnetic effect of the current, no, it will be wrong. Then chemical effect of the current also is wrong. Magnitude of the current, yes. And heating effect of the current also, yes. Okay, so your answer here should be, select the correct answer using the code below. Only two statements here are correct. I think you'll have to change the answer for this question in your current affairs. In your answer key, some other answer is given there. Okay. Now, next question number 64. Bright light is found to emit from photographer's flash gun. The brightness is due to the presence of which of the following? The answer here is xenon. Okay, it results into a very bright white light for a moment. That is because of xenon. Okay, again, everyday science. This is very important. You try to understand the approach of UPSC. What is UPSC asking you in science and technology? It is all day-to-day science and some technological developments in the current affairs. Okay. Accumulation of which of the following leads to cramps? This is again a typical NCERT textbook question. Lactic acid is the answer. Okay, many times we have seen in many competitive exams this question has come up. So lactic acid is the answer. It is because of anaerobic respiration. Okay, so lactic acid forms, and that is why we have cramps. Okay, then question number 66. Which of the following statements correctly describes genetic screening? Okay, whenever such terms are used, never ever mark the answer which has exact meaning of what is asked in the question. What is genetic screening? First is, it is analysis of DNA to check the presence of a particular gene in a person. So this is a narrow option. Analysis of gene in a population, no. It is actually a pedigree analysis. Why? It is used to do genetic analysis of a population to see or to predict any hereditary diseases before time, before any symptoms are seen. So that is known as pedigree analysis. Genetic screening is about pedigree analysis. Okay. Then question number 67. Which of the following statements about transport mechanism in plants is correct? Okay. Now the first statement says diffusion. Again a textbook question from NCERT. Diffusion of ions and small molecules across cell membrane requires energy. Now diffusion does not require any energy. Active transport of ions and small molecules across cell membranes against concentration of gradient requires energy. Again, this is incorrect. Cells conserve energy and no energy is required for the transport of ions and small molecules against concentration gradient. This is your answer. It does not require energy for transfer of these molecules. Okay. Next, question number 68. Consider the following statements with reference to skill development, skill India digital platform. The first statement is, it is the digital public infrastructure for skilling, education, employment and entrepreneurship ecosystem in India. This is absolutely correct. Now, it is a joint initiative of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and Ministry of Education. Why would Ministry of Commerce come into education, right? So this is incorrect. It is Ministry of Skill Development, right, and Entrepreneurship. So this statement is incorrect. The platform aims to provide formal school education both to adults and school children. Okay, so this is about skilling and employment. Why would there be school children in this project, right? So this statement is also incorrect. So how many of the statements are correct? Only one statement in the above question is correct. Okay, then question number 69. Yes, consider the following statements with reference to Indian Council of World Affairs. Now, it was established by a group of Indian intellectuals before the independence. Yes, in 1943 this was established. It is declared as the institution of national importance. This is also true. And Vice President of India is the ex officio president of this council. This is also true. So how many of the statements are correct? All the three statements here will be correct. Okay. Question number 70. Consider the following statements with reference to Ayushman Bhav campaign. Now, this is a holistic campaign which integrates all the health related schemes together, or implementing these schemes together. Okay. So this was launched in 2023. So you have this question from current affairs. The campaign aims to deliver healthcare services to the last mile of India by adopting multi-ministerial approach. This is true. It is an umbrella campaign, like I said. It brings under it all the health related schemes for better implementation. So it is an umbrella scheme comprising Ayushman Aapke Dwar, Ayushman Mela and Ayushman Sabha. Both the statements here are correct. Okay. Then question number 71. MQ9B, which was recently seen in the news, is related to which of the following? So in such questions, there is no point in discussing the options. It is a type of unmanned aerial vehicle, okay, which was in news recently because India has given permission to acquire these drones from USA, and these are capable of firing missiles, anti-ship missiles or anti-tank missiles from air. And it was in news because India is buying them from USA. So your answer here is B. Then question number 72. Consider the following statements about Vidya Samiksha Kendra. Okay. The first statement is, it serves as a data repository for all initiatives run by the Ministry of Education. Absolutely true. It is for better implementation of all the schemes in the Ministry of Education. It acts as a data repository. What is the enrollment ratio? What is the dropout ratio? Okay, the status of midday scheme. So all these come under one umbrella. It will aid in calculating the gross assessment ratio by mapping the school location layer with population layer is also true. So both the statements in this question are correct. Next, question number 73. Consider the following statements with reference to National Judicial Data Grid Portal. Now, the first statement is, it is the national repository of all cases related to information pertaining to Supreme Court, High Court and District Courts, Taluka Courts also. This statement is again true. Then NJDG has been developed by National Informatics Center. This statement is also true. So you see both the statements here are correct. Okay. Now what the Supreme Court is trying to do is to promote transparency and accountability in judiciary. So all the updates of all the cases at all levels of judiciary will be updated under this repository. Okay. So you can track the pendency also in the courts. You see the pendency is beyond 5 crores in the Indian judiciary. More than 70,000 cases pending in Supreme Court, almost 4.5 lakh cases in high courts, and more than 4 crore cases in district and lower judiciary. Okay, so this promotes transparency and accountability in judiciary. The next question, consider the following statements with reference to International Organization of Legal Metrology. Now you need to understand the term, okay, metrology. It is not meteorology, it is metrology. Okay, it is science of measurement. Metrology is about weather forecasting. Okay. Now it is an intergovernmental treaty organization which was established in 1955 in Paris. This statement is correct. Then it aims to develop model regulations, standards, related documents for use by legal metrology authorities and industry. This is also true. And India is not a member of this organization is incorrect, because India is a member of this organization. So only 2 statements in this question are correct. Okay, only 2 statements. So your answer here will be B. Question number 75. What is the overnight index swap? Now I don't know how this question from economics is in your science and technology test, but we'll straight away go with the answer here. The answer for this question is A. It is an interest rate swap involving the overnight rate being exchanged for a fixed interest rate. Okay. So question number 75, your answer will be A. Now question number 76. Again, a very important question. You must be reading about this question in the current affairs. The first statement, consider the following claims regarding Changthani goat. The first statement is Changthani goat is found in Ladakh's Changthang area. This statement is correct. Okay. Then Changthangi goat is typically domesticated and kept by nomadic Changpa people in Ladakh, this is also true. And Changtangi goats provide mohair wool utilized in the shawl making. Now it is actually pashmina wool, right? So it is not mohair. This statement is incorrect. Okay, we have had questions in UPSC about pashmina wool and all this, so you should know this particular question very well. So how many statements are correct? Only 2 statements are correct, so your answer here will be B. Okay, then question number 77. Which of the following best defines the term mule recently seen in news? Now, what is the problem? If you don't know the full form of these abbreviations, it becomes very difficult. Now, for mule, it is multi-utility legged equipment. It is a robot. Okay. Now, the first is it is a lunar rover. No. It is a load-bearing autonomous robot. This is your answer. Okay. If you know the abbreviation, the full form of the abbreviation, you can come to the answer. Okay. It is not a drone. It is not an anti-tank missile. It is not a lunar rover as well. Okay. Now this is to be used by the army, Indian army, to fight, terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. So it was a very important development in defense. Next question, question number 78. Which of the following countries has committed to exchange K9 Vajra technology to improve defense cooperation? So the answer to this question, again, defense related, is South Korea and India. So these are howitzers or guns, K9 Vajra, these are the guns. These are based on Korean guns, which are known as K9 Thunder. Okay, K9 Thunder. So we are developing it as K9 Vajra in India. Now, question number 79. Biohacking recently seen in news is related to which of the following? Now, always remember, I am repeating this. Your answer will never be the exact explanation of what is given in the question. Now, many people, because of biohacking, will think it is something related to hacking. It is not. So, the first statement saying hacking into biological systems to steal or modify data, no. Then, exploiting biological vulnerabilities to cause harm and disruption, D is not your answer. Your answer straight away is B, biological experimentation done to improve the qualities or capabilities of living organisms. Okay, so what is biohacking? Your answer here is B. It is experimentation done to improve the qualities and capabilities of living organisms. Okay. Then question number 80, consider the following statements with reference to green firecrackers. We have had questions on these green firecrackers. Okay. These were developed in 2018 by CSIR. Okay. Developed in 2018 by CSIR. So very important. So they are crackers made without ash and with additives such as dust separatants. This is correct. Then these crackers are made with barium compounds which give the green color to crackers. Now barium is the reason why traditional crackers or firecrackers cause air pollution and sound pollution. So in green crackers, barium is actually not used. So this statement, second statement, is incorrect. And green crackers cause zero pollution. This is also wrong. Green crackers are environment friendly in a sense that they, the pollution, air pollution and the sound pollution is reduced to a large extent compared to the traditional firecrackers, but it is not zero. So even the statement 3 in this question is incorrect. So they've asked us how many of the statements are incorrect. Okay, please read the questions very carefully. Many people will mark the answers correctly, but they'll final marking of answers goes wrong because they don't read the correct or incorrect part properly. Okay, so how many statements are incorrect? 2 statements here are incorrect. Okay. Question number 81. Consider the following statements with reference to Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar. Okay. Now, first statement is it is one of the highest recognition in the field of science and technology. True. People of Indian origin staying abroad with exceptional contributions are also eligible. This is also true. So both the statements here are correct. Your answer to this question will be C. Okay. Question number 82, a very important development again for environment, okay, or environmental sciences. Consider the following statements with reference to artificial reefs. Across India, in Chennai, in Mumbai, we have started using artificial reefs. Okay. So what is this? Artificial reef is a man-made structure that may mimic some of the characteristics of a natural reef. Absolutely true. So it is made of concrete. It is a concrete slab or a pipe like this, okay, and it mimics the characteristics of a natural reef. It will provide a base for to build ecosystems. Okay. Department of Fisheries is promoting artificial reef under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. This is also true. Okay. So they'll ask you what are the benefits of artificial reefs. It provides a base for development of an ecosystem. Okay. Coral reefs also increase, the biodiversity increases, and slowly fishing grounds also develop around these reefs. Okay. It also prevents bottom trawling of way of fishing. So a very important development, artificial reefs. Please go into the details of what are artificial reefs and where they are used. We have a very recent example wherein this was used in Mumbai, okay, the coast area. So how many statements are correct? Both 1 and 2 in this question are correct. Okay. Then question number 83. Consider the following statements regarding foot and mouth disease. Okay, you don't confuse this with hand, foot and mouth disease in humans. Okay. So the first statement here is it is an animal borne viral disease that is highly contagious. This is true. It spreads easily to humans. See, it does not easily spread to humans. So statement 2 is incorrect. There are currently no vaccinations. This is also incorrect. There are vaccines against this disease. So statement is wrong. How many statements are correct? Only one statement is correct. So your answer here will be only A. Then question number 84. Consider the following statements regarding DNA nanoball strategy. The first is it is a technique used to determine the entire genome sequence of an organism. This is true. Then the technique can detect virus when infected people are pre-symptomatic in period. This is also true. So both the statements about this technology, DNA nanoball strategy, are correct. Okay. Then the next question, question number 85. Consider the following statements regarding advanced very high resolution radiometer. The first is it is a multi-purpose imaging sensor used to monitor cloud cover, sea surface, temperature, ice, snow and vegetation cover. This is true. It was developed by NASA, right, in 1970s. Developed by NASA in 1970s, to be precise, in 1978. So most of the weather forecasting satellites, okay, use this sensors. Then the second statement says it detects the Earth's emitted radiations using 3 solar channels in the visible infrared range but lacks thermal infrared. This is incorrect. It can catch radiations or detect radiations from solar channels in visible near infrared range as well as thermal infrared channels also. Okay, so the statement 2 is incorrect. And the INSAT-1 satellite series lacks an advanced very high resolution radiometer. This is also absolutely wrong because the INSAT series, Indian National Satellite System, has these features in it. So statement 2 and statement 3 are incorrect. So how many of the statements are correct? Only one. A will be your answer here. Okay, then question number 86. A very important development again. Consider the following statements with reference to Hanley Dark Sky Reserve. The first statement is HDSR aims to control man-made light pollution in the area in order to preserve the pristine dark skies for astronomical research. Absolutely true. Okay, this was in news recently. So we have a question. It is an Indian astronomical observatory located in South Pole. No, it is located in Hanley in Ladakh. Okay, This is the first dark observatory in India. So there is a group of 6 villages wherein a night light is controlled there. The Brottle scale is a 9-level numeric scale for the measurement of brightness of a telescope. This is again wrong. It is not to measure the brightness of the telescope, but to measure the brightness of the night sky. Okay, and this one in this scale means a very dark or the darkest skies, natural darkest skies, and nine means the intercity skies, which are, there's a lot of light pollution in the cities, in the core area of the cities. Okay, so how many statements given are correct? Only one statement is correct here. Okay, 87 25 by 25 target is the initiative of whom? It is of WHO. It is to reduce the mortality of non-communicable diseases and was launched by World Health Organization to reduce the death mortality by 25% by 2025. Okay. Question number 88. Consider the following statements in connection with the biasing of semiconductor diodes. Now, this is a very tricky question, or you can say a very technical question. Now, LEDs operate in forward bias mode is true. Photodiodes function in a forward bias is incorrect. They operate in reverse bias mode. Okay. Sensor diodes, now these are all correct. So, how many statements are correct here? 3 statements in this question are correct. Now, such questions which seem to be very technical or which are beyond your studies, which you have not read, which are not from the books, please try to collect information from such questions whenever you solve any test, practice test for UPSC. There will be many such issues which we do not come across in our current affairs. Okay, because some other sources may cover it. So when you're solving all the practice tests, make it a point to know all such things which you are completely unaware of. Okay. Then question number 89. Consider the following statements with reference to Namo Bharat. Okay, very important. It is a multimodal semi-high-speed rapid transit system that ensures balanced and sustainable urban development. Right. This was earlier known as RapidX. Okay, and it was later known as Namo Bharat. Okay, the first statement is true. It connects Western India with Eastern India. No, it connects. It is currently running between Delhi and Meerut. Okay. Then National Capital Region Transport Corporation, which comes under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, is the implementing agency. Now see, NCRTC is a implementing agency for Namo Bharat, but it does not come under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. It is a separate PSC or a separate special purpose vehicle. Okay, though Urban Housing Ministry has a 22% stake in it, so do Railway Ministry has a 22% stake, and 4 states, that is UP, Rajasthan, Delhi, and there's one more, I guess. Rajasthan we have done, UP we have done, Haryana. Okay, these states have 12% stake in this PSC. Okay, so it does not come under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. So statement 3 also is incorrect. So how many statements here are correct? Only one statement is correct in this question. Okay, your answer will be A, only one. Then question number 90. Indian Army's recent initiative to promote indigenous military knowledge by merging ancient strategies insight with modern military practices is known as Project Udbhav. Okay. Now these are, if you have read it, you will know this answer. If you have not read it, it is very difficult to eliminate. Okay. So this is again from the current affairs, but be very cautious with such questions, because if you have not read it, you will not be in a position to answer this. No way. Okay. So if you know it, you take a chance. You attempt the question. If you are completely blank about the question, generally don't try. Okay. Then next question, consider the following statements with reference to Agni D. Okay. Now it is an AI-based surveillance software developed by DRDO. This statement is incorrect for a reason that it was not developed by DRDO, but it was developed by an engineer in the Army's engineering department. It was not developed by DRDO. Okay. So the next, it is deployed in the Radcliffe line along India-Pakistan border. This is also incorrect. It is deployed at India-China border. Right? So both the statements here are incorrect. Though, see, this might seem true because most of the defense developments are done by DRDO. But this was developed by Vikas Tripathi. He is an engineer in the Indian Armed Forces, okay, and it was developed by this person, not by DRDO. So both the statements given here are incorrect, okay. Neither of them is correct. So your answer here will be D. And then question number 92. The 2023 Nobel Prize for Economics was awarded to Claudia Goldin for her work on. Now this is quite easy. If you have gone through all the recent Nobel Prizes, you'll have to know their work on which they were awarded. So it was for female labor force participation. Your answer here will be D. Okay, a very straightforward question. Then question number 93. Consider the following statements. EcoMark scheme under the LIFE initiative and is administered by the Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This is true. Now this LIFE initiative was started in 2021 by Indian Prime Minister at Glasgow at COP26. Okay, so LIFE for environment. This is what it means, lifestyle for environment. And EcoMark comes under this. The first statement is correct. Then Green Credit Program is a market-based mechanism that focuses on afforestation and water conservation. See, it focuses on many other programs also, not just on afforestation and water conservation. Initially, when this was launched, it did focus on these two, but now it is a very broad-based concept. Then the third, Green Credit Program is implemented by ICFRCE. This is true. So, two statements in this question are correct. Okay. See, these initiatives are very important, okay, because this was launched globally at Glasgow in COP26 under UNFCCC, okay. Then, question number 94. Consider the following statements with reference to aerosols. The first question, these are tiny solid particles suspended in the atmosphere. Yes, and this is the favorite with UPSC aerosols. We have had questions time and again on aerosols. They are solid particles which are suspended in the atmosphere. Then these are formed only by natural processes. Whenever there is only, be very careful. They can be formed by man-made actions also. Now tell me, what is particulate matter 2.5 or PM10? These are man-made aerosols, okay? So they're not only natural, but also man-made. So second statement is incorrect. The third statement is aerosols can vary widely in size. This is true. So how many statements are correct? Two statements are correct. So your answer here will be B, okay? Next question, question number 95. Consider the following statements with reference to Arabian leopards. Now the first statement is Arabian leopard is the smallest leopard subspecies that is endemic to Arabian Peninsula. Yes, in Saudi Arabia, Yemen and all these countries we have this species. It has been listed as critically endangered by IUCN. This is also true. The Global Fund for Arabian Leopard is an initiative of IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. Actually, this is a Saudi initiative. Right? So not IUCN. Statement 3 in this question is incorrect. So how many statements given are correct? Only two statements here are correct. Okay. Then question number 96. Consider the following statements with reference to white phosphorus. Now this is again a very important thing. We see Israel using white phosphorus, Russia using white phosphorus bombs in Ukraine. So this can be a question for your UPSC prelims. Now what is white phosphorus? It actually ignites spontaneously when it is exposed to oxygen. Okay, so it is used in wars. First, it is insoluble in water but soluble in organic solvents. This is true. It is utilized in the production of safety matches, flame retardants, and in semiconductor industry. Now, it is not the white phosphorus which is used, it is the red phosphorus which is used in matchmaking. Okay, so this is incorrect. It exhibits semiconductor properties and is used in electronic and electronic devices. This is also incorrect. Okay, why? Because black phosphorus is used in this industries and not white phosphorus. So statement 2 and statement 3 are incorrect. Only one statement is correct, so your answer will be A. Then question number 97. With reference to Agni 3 missile, which of the following statement is correct? First, it is a two-staged solid propellant nuclear capable missile. Now remember the propellants that are used in the missiles, because this is always a question. It is a solid propellant nuclear capable missile. All the Agni missiles are nuclear capable missiles. It is an intermediate range ballistic missile developed by DRDO. In 2023 UPSC prelims, we have had a question on what is ballistic missile and what is cruise missile. Okay, please know the difference. Ballistic missiles are controlled halfway through the trajectory and then later they are all by themselves. Whereas cruise missiles, from the moment you launch till they hit the target, they are controlled. Okay, so this is the difference, basic difference. So ballistic and cruise missile. Agni, on the other hand, is a ballistic missile and intermediate range missile, because the range is around 3000 kilometers. Both the statements here are correct, so your answer will be C, 1 and 2. Question number 98. In the effort to tackle malnutrition, consider the following statements. The Integrated Child Development Services, which was started in 1975, is implemented by Ministry of Agriculture. Don't read further, because it is not implemented by Ministry of Agriculture. It is implemented by Ministry of Women's and Child Welfare. Okay, so this is incorrect. The National Food Security Mission, launched in 2007 to increase the production of certain food grains, was implemented by Ministry of Women and Child Development. No, it is started by Ministry of Agriculture and Family Welfare. Okay, so they have interchanged the ministries here. Both these are wrong, but you should know these schemes as National Food Security Mission also and Integrated Child Development Services as well. Okay, then question number 99. First, artificial intelligence is the action of machines performing tasks, right, which required human intelligence, includes technology like machine learning, big data, and pattern recognition. This is true. The Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence is an international initiative which develops artificial intelligence consistent with human rights, fundamental freedom, and shared democratic values, and its secretariat is provided by G20. No, it is provided by G7 countries. Okay, so statement 2 is incorrect here. Your answer will be A1 only. Okay, then you have the last question. Consider the following statements regarding zombie viruses. It is frozen in ice and hence remains dormant. Very true. Rising global temperature and climate change has played a role in its emergence and will play a role in its emergence. Both the statements are correct. So your answer has to be C. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Okay. Now, I'm not expecting you to be in a position to answer every question that is given in the test. Okay. But at least some fundamental questions which can be covered from NCERTs are a must that you should know. Simultaneously, you should be also reading current affairs. Okay. Focus on sciences on day-to-day life. All the scientific inventions that are related to our easing of human life, will be probable questions in UPSC Prelims exam. Okay, so there's a two-pronged strategy to study science and science and technology. One is read basic books, and the other is be very thorough with the current affairs. Okay, this way you can be in a position to answer all the questions based on science and technology. Okay, that's all. Thank you and have a nice day.